All right, I want to bring in now Jennifer Kerns. She's a contributor for the Daily Caller and The Hill. Richard Roth, Democratic strategist and founder and partner of the Roth law firm. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Jennifer, what do you make of all these governors extending lockdowns when in some cases, as I was talking about, the numbers are pointing in the opposite direction?
Well, look, you look at some of these Democrat-run states, they are violating their own rule, which is what they accuse Republicans so often of doing, which is not listening to science, especially in the case of people like Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. Here's a guy, he runs a state with more than 800 miles of coastline and more than 420 state beaches. Boy, that would be a great opportunity for people to get outside and do what the MIT Journal says they should do, to do what the CDC says they should do, and what the Homeland Security Research Center says they should do, and the list goes on, which is to get outdoors, enjoy sunlight, enjoy humid conditions, and the humidity conditions at a beach are somewhere between 40 and 86%. That would effectively disrupt the coronavirus, not to mention all of the UV and fresh air benefits. So really surprised here actually by Gavin Newsom, what I consider to be an unforced error. This is a guy who's had a 28-year career, has been elected to office higher and higher up the chain throughout the past couple of decades. I'm the only press secretary, Republican or Democrat, to have ever beaten Gavin Newsom at the ballot box, and there's a reason for that. This is a very smart guy. I'm very surprised here at his pettiness and his retaliatory nature against Orange County specifically, the most Republican county in the state of California. I think this is petty politics at its finest, and I think it's a huge mistake, and I think Gavin Newsom's poll numbers are going to show it.
Richard, it goes right down to the mayor's, Mayor Lightfoot of Chicago, threatening residents that are not practicing social distancing that they will be arrested. That is not from me. That is from the mayor of Chicago. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, this is not a red state, blue state issue, please. Many countries, you want to talk about Israel, you want to talk about Romania, you talk to people around the world, and they are under a decree to go outside, they will be arrested. It's not about a Republican or a Democratic congressman. You have or governor. You have a governor from Maryland who's very nervous. It's about science. We are very concerned. In Singapore, Providence and Japan and in Hong Kong, they opened up early and there was a boomerang effect. The problem here is that we don't know. And the biggest concern is we don't know. So it's not about Governor Newsom. It's not about Governor Cuomo. It's not about governors in Massachusetts, Maryland, you name it. It's about turning on the spigot and seeing where it leads us. If we if we open it up a little bit too much and the numbers go up and we have a boomerang effect, we got to come back down. There are several territories in the world. Take Hong Kong, take Singapore, that's generally conservative because they have a lot of migrant workers. They turned the spigot on too much and it boomeranged back up. So really we're talking about life and death here. So I agree with Jen that we do have to carefully open up. We all want to open up, but careful is the word. We have to be cautious. It's not about just because we have beautiful beaches, open them. Because then if we see a spike, we'll come back and say, well, maybe we made a mistake. It's a very costly mistake here. Talking about, potentially extending the virus, getting more people to contract it, and more lives. So we got to be very, very careful what we wish for here.
Jennifer, your response.
Well, you look at the state most similar to California, and that's the state of Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis gave a great presentation over the weekend in which he showed the numbers of cases that state has and the beach reopenings, and the statistics on that are phenomenal. Look, I want people to be safe as well. I've done disaster response in the state of California. My whole family still lives in Southern California, potential hotspot there. So I don't want danger to anyone. But again, we've seen from the scientists, we've seen from the CDC, we've seen from MIT and the Journal of American Medical Association and others that say coronaviruses break down in warm climates and humid climates. And look, it's May 4th. The temperature in Los Angeles right now is 80 degrees. Where is the compassion for the Latino in East LA who doesn't have air conditioning in their community or in their apartment building? Where's the social justice warrior there in Gavin Newsom? I don't see it. At some point, the residents of California are going to have to be let out of their apartments and their homes to get back to and get back to business.
Let me jump in real quick. I only have a minute at a time, but there's an important topic I want to get to, and that's President Trump facing pushback from some cooperation with governors. Here's what he said on Fox News last night.
We had a phone call 5 days ago with the governors. I was on the call with Vice President Mike Pence, who's done a great job. He's the head of the committee, the task force. Every governor there, we asked it, what do you need? Not one governor needed anything. Now all of a sudden you see her on the Sunday, I watched it. Well, we should get this or we should get that. She ought to get back to running her state properly.
Talking about Governor Whitmer from Michigan specifically on that, Richard, the president talks to governors all the time, but then they get on the Sunday show, they need something. Just curious, where's the disconnect with this? If they're on the phone with the president, can't they ask them then rather than saying what they need in front of mainstream media?
Yeah, I don't know where the disconnect is, because I heard Mayor de Blasio yesterday. Some people are not a fan of his, but I heard him say that we are so short of swabs, we are now manufacturing them in the city of New York. I heard other governors say we don't have swabs. Putting together a test kit, which, by the way, is another whole issue. The reason why we can't go back is the Harvard said we should have 500,000 tests a day. We now have 145,000. We just don't have testing. But putting together test kits, like putting together a cup of coffee, you need the sugar, you need the cream, and you need the coffee. And without the swabs or the testing material, we are deficient. We have no national policy for increasing the testing. I know President Trump has pulled the Defense Protection Act a bit. But he's got to do it more, because we do not have sufficient testing right now in order to get the country open. And that's the problem. Maybe they're just not telling him. I find it hard to believe, because they're telling the rest of the world they don't have sufficient information to test.
That's a good question. Jennifer, last response from you.
Well, look, I didn't like when President Trump called Gretchen Whitmer that woman. She is a duly and fairly elected governor, just like all the male governors out there. But these governors are big boys and girls. If they need supplies, they should be able to ask for them. If they need help and assistance from the federal government, they should be able to ask for it, whether or not there are reporters present. And that's just as simple as that.
All right. Richard, what's your dog's name?
You see Levi in the background, huh? He wanted to make an appearance.
Levi made an appearance. Nice and cozy back there, little head in the back right. All right. Jennifer Kerns, Richard Roth, working from home. There it is. Yeah.